Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports live Formula One watch along of the Austrian Grand Prix. It is round 9 of the 2021 season, and well, it's the same track as last weekend, just with a different name. We're at the Red Bull Ring again, which looks to be a bigger capacity this time. We've just seen on the footage that we're watching, me and Connor, the stand being completely full of the Dutch fans, and of course they've got something to cheer about today because last weekend they lost to the Czech Republic, so I think they'll be really hoping on Max Verstappen to win yet again here at the Red Bull Ring. And I'm delighted to be joined by Conor Porter for Let's Talk Sport. Connor, how are you? It's been a while. When was your last F1 watch along? I'm trying to remember.
I'm not quite sure. I don't think it was Monaco. I'm not quite sure. It was way before that.
I think it was Monaco qualifying.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been qualifying for Monaco.
I think it has been a while, but I mean,
a few races.
how you feeling at the moment with this season? Because in a way, we have got quite a championship on our hands with the fact that Red Bull have won the last 4 to 5 races. They're on a streak at the moment. Can they be stopped today, though?
Yeah, I mean, it feels as though Mercedes have fallen away a little bit, and you've heard talks about Hamilton and saying about how they need to make improvements to the car because they haven't done it yet. I think it's going to be an interesting race today. Hamilton's in 4th, but Verstappen is already in 1st, and thinking about already driving off into the distance like he did last week.
Yeah.
And you got a bit of a different situation for him this time because Perez is ahead of the Mercedes car, so he's got a nice back marker to try and get some distance. So it's going to be an interesting start, I think. But also we got our own British lad in Lando Norris as well in that mix too, after a brilliant qualifying yesterday where he managed to finish P2. So it's going to be an interesting start to the race, I think. But my hope is that we don't get a situation where Verstappen drives off into the distance, because I want to see a bit more challenging for the lead in this race. But it might be a bit of a tall order, shall we say, because of how dominant the Red Bull has been so far this season.
If you're wondering what the lineup is for the race, folks, in terms of the starting grid, the leaderboard is on our screen, and that'll be our live leaderboard throughout the stream. So it'll keep you as up to date as it will be for me and Connor, I'm sure. So do enjoy the watch along. Of course, we've got some of you already getting in touch. We asked you on our poll on our live chat page, which you can still vote, and then we'll end the poll after lap 10, which I always forget to do, which is asking you who will win the Austrian Grand Prix today. We've got 69% of you at the moment saying Max Verstappen, 14% for Lewis Hamilton, 17% for Lando Norris, which is also Conor Porter in that vote. He voted on there. None of you have gone for Other, though, and there he is. He's got his Lando Norris cap on, which he's actually got a few caps on with him. If anything changes from
if Lewis gets a win, then we're ready to go. There we go, Mercedes. And if one of Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc suddenly appears on the podium, then we're ready to go. So
See,
Ferraris.
I do like that Ferrari cap. That one I quite like. Even though the Ferrari logo is on the side and not the front, I do quite like that one. It's a nice one. So, of course, Conor Porter promoting the F1store.com. 10% off with Let's Talk Sport. We've got Greg Livingstone saying, "Hi guys, it's my day off, work uptown, drinking with my friends. Started drinking at about 12. Oh God, thankfully I don't have work until Friday." Oh, that's all right then. Joel Mitchell's got in touch as well. Joel, are you expecting the Italian Jesus to do well again today? Antonio Giovinazzi, I do apologise. He's of course in 15th ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in 16th. So they're out on the formation lap. And this is the weird thing, Connor. It's the fact that we are pretty much seeing the same race in terms of the layout and everything from last weekend. So this is when we saw last year, we had 2 different winners. So it can be a different outtake today, even for those that don't think it.
Yeah, but I suppose the issue with that, we were saying 2 different winners. Both winners were Mercedes drivers in the end. I think they were with Lewis and Bottas. I can't remember if they was, but that kind of strikes a chord to me. I don't think we'll see like Perez do the same thing with Red Bull today. Just it's not that kind of dynamic in the team. I think it's going to be Max Verstappen's race to lose, and obviously it is because he's in pole today. But with the performance that we've seen over the past couple of weeks with the Mercedes, struggled to really get to get a lead ahead of the Red Bull.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the same kind of story today. I just don't see how Verstappen loses this from like driver error or anything like that. The only way I think he would lose this race is if we get an interruption of rain coming into play and he gets caught out in that sense, or if he has some sort of mechanical failure or someone accidentally crashes into him. I think that's the only way Verstappen can lose this race. It's going to be him. I think it's going to be on the podium at the very least, and he should go on to win this race from pole position because of the power of that Red Bull car. We saw how quickly it got away last weekend. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to replicate that today.
Absolutely, absolutely. More pressure, if anything, especially when it is their track. The name is there. It is their main circuit. It is owned by Red Bull, so it's it is like a home race for them because you got all those Dutch fans as well. You were there, 132,000 to the attendance today. Great to see. F1
that was
back.
over the weekend. I think it was over the race weekend. 132,000 people attending, which is it's fantastic just to see so many people being able to watch live sport again.
Absolutely.
And we've got, of course, next race, the British Grand Prix, is expected to be a full capacity crowd. So that's going to be a great sight to see.
Yeah, because Wimbledon final, I think, is going to be full capacity crowd as well. So yeah, we are slowly getting back to business with sport and fans again, which is great. The Euros have shown that around Europe as well, seen at least some sort of group of fans around. But anyway, we're getting ready for the start of this Austrian Grand Prix. We've been waiting all week. They've been in their hotel rooms wondering how to approach this one differently to Styria. The lights are about to go out. Here we go then, and there they go. And it's Max Verstappen who takes it over in front, and he's got Lando Norris to his left, and no problem there for Verstappen. Norris will settle for second, and Perez in third at the moment, but very clean first corner again, Connor.
Yes, good first corner from Verstappen. A great start for him. Lando staying in that gap as well. Good closure though by Lewis on Perez, and I think he's almost getting to the point where he could overtake him potentially. Well, DRS won't activate for another few laps yet, but he's in that zone. He's staying in that zone straight away. But the danger is he doesn't want to stay behind him for too long because otherwise Verstappen will pull away.
I think we just seen them side to side as well there as they approach turn 3. But it looks like the Aston Martins has just gone past one of the Ferraris. And he has done. I'm not sure which one that is. I think that's Vettel.
Safety car.
Yeah, what's that for?
I think it's.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't see.
Alpine Ocon.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, that's a shame. I wonder if that was. Oh, look at his right tyre. It's it looks as though it's. I wonder if he collided with someone, but already on first DNF.
We had contact last weekend, didn't we, at turn 3? And I think it's another turn 3 contact.
Here we go. We're just seeing the replay now. It's always tight this turn when it comes to the start of the race. Oh, he's in a sandwich in between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas, and he collides with one of the Alfa Romeos to his right there, and because of that, he is out of the race. But it's so annoying, isn't it, Connor? You can work so hard in practice and qualifying, and then all of a sudden, the start of the race, you're out. Just from a little thing like that.
Yeah, it was Gasly last weekend with the collision with Charles Leclerc, and then today it looks as though it's Esteban Ocon with the collisions with. I'm not too sure which Alfa Romeo it was, and of course the Haas car as well. But you can't really fault the drivers in that case. There, it's just the start of the race. So many cars going around these really tight corners, especially that turn 3. It's such a difficult corner to get around, let alone with other cars right beside you too. It's just a shame that it's ended with Esteban Ocon now getting out of his car and he's out the race because he's had a poor couple of weekends really out in Q1 over the past 2 weekends. He's not really managed to really put up a performance that we have been able to see from the Alpine car. Fernando Alonso did great in qualifying yesterday until he was held up by Max Verstappen. So sorry, not Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel. So yeah, just another disappointing weekend for Ocon, but hopefully he's able to bounce back at the British Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, so if you've just joined us, it's a safety car because of Esteban Ocon going out so early on. We've I forgot which car it was, but we did see an F1 car go in for the pit stop to change tyres, probably because of the incident. I'm not sure, but still following the safety car around at the moment as they go down the straight. But yeah, lots of fans running towards the fences when they saw the Alpine off the track. Just great to see. We haven't seen that in such a long time. Let us know, folks, who you think's going to win. Is Max Verstappen going to hold on to the end of the race? Of course, it's all about that pit stop strategy. You can see smoke all over the place. Don't worry, folks, it's not fire, it's orange flares from the Dutch supporters.
I'm not sure if it was, I think it might have been Kimi that made contact with Ocon, because Kimi's on the hard tyres now. And I saw a pair of hard tyres go on an Alfa Romeo in the pits, whereas Giovinazzi is the one that had to go into the pits. Kimi actually started on the hard tyres, which is an interesting strategy there from the former world champion. So yeah, and Carlos Sainz, I think he may have had a little bit of contact with someone too. No, he's actually had a nice clean getaway there on that drive, so that's good.
Sainz he's having a good season so far for Ferrari in his first ever season with them. I think he's done really well. The Latifi's camera's just been viewed, seeing it there. It didn't have anything to do with it, but the safety car is ending as we're on lap 3. And it says Hazard is now clear, racing to resume at end of lap. Not Eden Hazard, he's currently out at the Euros. Well, he's out completely. Not that this is football related. But me and Connor are still a little bit hungover or recovering from last night's England
I'm not
win.
hungover. I had a drink, so.
No, hungover is in just happy. I mean, yeah, no, I am hungover. But Norris is right behind Verstappen there on the. Oh, here we go. Well, it's down to Verstappen to lead them down the straight, and he will do. Here we go. Then that's a bit more pace.
Perez is trying to get a jump on Norris as well.
He is. Go on, Perez. Go on, lad. Oh, he's on the outside though. Norris in the inside. Perez had to go off the track there. Ooh, will he still be able to overtake though? He's going.
That should be classed as an illegal overtake there, because he went off the track.
Well, surely he's got to
let position.
I mean, we've got 4 cars now going for it now. It's both Mercedes right behind Perez and Bottas! What's he doing there? Oh, what a move! Because of that though, Hamilton goes. Yeah, you're right. Bottas 4th, still Hamilton 5th.
Red Bull.
Go on. Perez, no! Oh, no! That's not good. That is not good at all. That is going to make it very annoying now for Christian Horner. Of course, his main man's in front, but it's all about that support in the constructors as well. And Perez, because of that, is down to 10th. Connor, do you feel as though he should have probably been a bit patient?
That could be a game changer, really, just depending on how well Hamilton drives today. Now, with him being in the position that he is, and Perez falling down the pack now. That could be huge for Red Bull, because Verstappen won't have that bench marker now, that back marker to keep the Mercedes at bay, and that's just it's a case of picking your battles, I think, for Perez. Did he really need to challenge McLaren so early into the race? Is McLaren going to stay there for about the majority of the race? Last week it didn't. Norris hardly put up a defense against Bottas and Perez last weekend when they were challenging him for position. But this weekend it looks as though he is trying to stay there. But again, we did have the safety car, so it may be a case of let's see how the tyres can go at the moment. Yeah. But Perez, I'm not going to question him as a Formula 1 driver, because he's in Formula 1. But it's the case of, did he have to challenge there? Could he have just waited maybe for when DRS activated later on in the race? Take him on the start-finish straight. Why did he go on that corner there when you got that gravel trap right there next to him on the left? Was it really necessary? I don't think it was, and it may be costly now for Red Bull in terms of getting points in this race in the constructors. And
it is Perez's 200th Grand Prix. He started in F1 10 years ago with Sauber, and here he is now with Red Bull. Not the start he wanted, they're in 10th place now, but his teammate Verstappen has just got fastest lap of 1.9. Missed the tenths of a second there, but he's 2.5 seconds ahead of Norris now. As Conor said at the start of this race, it's like the last race already, started to create that gap in order to, pretty much nail the race from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm really keeping an eye on the gap between Norris and Hamilton. At the moment, it's about half a second or so. So it means once DRS is good to go, Hamilton will have it, and he should, realistically, with the power of that Mercedes car, he should take the McLaren car and take second place in the next lap or so. Because he can't leave it much longer than that, otherwise Verstappen's gone into the distance. So we'll see. DRS is activated for this lap now. So we'll see how long it takes for Hamilton to overtake Norris.
We've just put out a message on the live chat page asking you to let us know where you were watching the race today. Let us know where you're watching it from. Verstappen, another fastest lap there on after lap 7. But so currently we've got Verstappen first, Norris second, Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, Gasly fifth, Tsunoda 6th. Look at that, the two AlphaTauris up there in the top 6 at the moment. Lance Stroll and then his teammate Vettel in 8th, Ricciardo 9th and Perez 10th. So that's your top 10, and Ocon out already, which I do try and get as many transcripts of the radio as I can when we're live, but it looks as though Esteban Ocon said straight after he went out, he just went, "I'm out, guys, that's it."
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else you can do really when you're pincered in with two cars right beside you. What you're supposed to do, sacrifice the position, or no driver will want to do that. They want to keep on trying to go around the corner, but yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate, I think, for Ocon in the end. Not much he could do.
We got Apple Core saying he's watching from Australia. Joe Mitchell saying New Zealand, it's 1:12 a.m. on Monday morning. God, you have it really tough. I feel sorry for Australia and New Zealand, for them who watch F1, because most of them are in our own time, so it's a bit unfortunate for you guys. But of course, when I
was looking ahead on the calendar. I think the latest one would be October with the Japanese Grand Prix, where it will start at 6 a.m. for us, but it's probably a nice time for a nice afternoon watching the Formula One rather than staying up for it, So
absolutely. John Mitchell says he's got no school in the morning, so it's okay. Oh, that's all right then, even though it's Monday tomorrow. But currently looking at the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th of Stroll, Vettel, Ricciardo and Perez, and also Leclerc in 11th. But it's now 3.5 seconds from Verstappen. He really is quick today. I mean, it wasn't long ago we were saying 2.5 seconds. But you do worry at the front that there might not be much battle going on. I really do think for Mercedes, they'll probably concede the race if the pit stops doesn't go their way.
Yeah, Lando's managed to stay ahead of the Mercedes for a couple of laps now. Be interesting to know how much longer he's going to be able to stay in that position. Oh, just got a radio message up there. It'd be interesting to know what he said, but fortunately I don't have sound on my stream. But it looks as though Lewis is closing the gap to Lando. So at some point he is going to make the move and do the overtake, and then it's a case of chasing down Verstappen. But will he be too far ahead at that point? It may be the case, and in which point Lewis would have to hope for a safety car or a little bit of wet weather to try and catch up to him. But that's just goes to show how good of a car that Red Bull is, how good of a driver as well Max Verstappen has been so far this season too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just about to reach lap 10 shortly, folks. So if you haven't voted on the poll yet, do so before I end the poll, and then later on we will ask for you for the driver of the day, so do stay tuned for that. So lap 10 it is now of this race, 71 laps in total. But Max, again, he's just getting another fastest lap, and he's getting close to 4 seconds ahead of Lando Norris in the McLaren. But yeah, I think Hamilton knows he needs to get Norris out the way, and I think he will do very shortly. He says it's very hard to follow on the team radio.
And seeing on the graphics on the broadcast, Bottas a second slower than Hamilton per lap on the last lap. Sorry, so the field's starting to break up a little bit now, even between third and fourth. So Norris, as much as he wants to stay in second, it might be more realistic for him to let Hamilton pass and just try and drive into a bigger gap between him and Bottas, because he's managed to keep that gap going so far with Hamilton behind him as well. So he's doing a decent drive so far in this race.
And we're just going to put out a new poll, which is asking you if Hamilton can stop Verstappen in today's race. Let us know. Currently, I mean, Lando Norris is doing great. He is holding on up there. He knows he's getting closer, and I hope Lando Norris isn't getting confused with the Dutch fans on the track because of the fact that they're all wearing orange, thinking it's all for him. Sadly, it's for the man who is leading, Max Verstappen, now 4.2 seconds ahead. Oh, Hamilton locked up there, I think, or maybe not on turn 3.
And if he did lock up, that's a lot of hard work undone for the past couple of laps, because that is you can't afford to make mistakes, and Lando is one of the most talented young drivers on the field, as we saw yesterday, getting his first front row in Formula One, and he's doing a fantastic drive so far in this race, keeping Hamilton at bay.
Absolutely. We got Emily Fowl saying England. Yeah, you're probably nearby. You're probably just down the road from us, Emily, compared to some of the people who are in Australia and New Zealand watching on. So hope you're enjoying the stream and the race. Who are you supporting today? Let us know, folks. Who do you think? Who are you rooting for? Of course, I'm normally a Perez fan, but I don't want to talk about the start of that. Start of this race, no chance. Already on lap 12. Of course, this is one of the best tracks on the calendar in my eyes. It's always had some good racing, and it's beats a street circuit any day of the week.
Yeah, it's a nice circuit. It's very quick. But it's also got some decent corners in there as well, so there's plenty of overtaking opportunities. It's just a case of they've got to find the gaps in order to do it. They've got to close the gaps in order to make it happen. So yeah, Lewis is trying to do that right now as he closes down on Lando Norris, and that is where most of the footage has stayed for the vast majority of the last 6 laps or so since DRS is activated, because Lando's doing a terrific job keeping Lewis at bay for the past 6. But I suppose not much else is happening in the midfield to make note of. Perez hasn't managed to climb back. Ricciardo's in 9th, which is a good start for him after some poor qualifying performances. Russell's unfortunately fallen down to 13th. The Ferraris have jumped him. And other than that, it is pretty much the field as it was. Vettel's managed to actually jump back into the spots that he had, and it looks as though someone's going to potentially under investigation Lando Norris and Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
But Tsunoda's gone into the pit, so first driver to pit on strategy, it looks as though, is Tsunoda. So Tsunoda's going to go longer on these hard tyres than what most of the drivers would do. So that's going to be 58 laps, I imagine. I think it is on hard tyres.
Yeah.
It's quite a long stint on the hard tyres, though.
Did we have 2 stops last weekend? I don't think we did we?
Well, on strategy, I think it was just the 1 stop. It was 2 stops for Hamilton for Verstappen in France, because he made good use of the medium tyres and managed to overtake Lewis on the second to last lap, I think it was, for the race win. So that's good. But yeah, a few more drivers actually probably going to start coming in, I imagine. Gasly's in now too. So AlphaTauri going with the hard tyres for the vast majority of the race, and hoping to jump some people as they come in for their pits as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Longer pit stop there, I think, for Gasly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
2 or 3.7. Yes. Yeah, that's not quick. It looks as though Norris and Perez are under investigation, as I think Conor mentioned before, but Verstappen fastest lap, which would be a bonus point. Of course, I'm sure we'll see a lot of more fastest lap between him and Hamilton normally we have throughout the race. Even when they're not racing next to each other, you feel like they're racing each other on the leaderboard timings. It is quite amusing to watch that change all the time. We got Leclerc. Oh, he's done well there, Leclerc on Perez. And Perez will go into 9th now, but Perez will fight again, I'm sure, with the pace of that car. Emily Fowles says, not going to lie, rugby is pretty good. Do you mean the sport or the town? Or is it a city? I don't know. I've been past rugby on a train towards London, but that's it. I'd imagine that's why the sport is called that, because it was in rugby. Apologies if I'm wrong. We got Shahid Shah saying Hamilton is the best race the world champions 7. He's got 7 of them. Looks like everyone's talking about rugby on the live chat. It's F1 today, folks, but we are doing the British and Irish Lions tour later this month on our watch along, so do join us for when they play South Africa. It should be a cracking event, and hopefully Ron Gatland and his men can win on the tour. We'll see. Of course, we can't get over the drama of New Zealand from 4 years ago. I'm sure Joel Mitchell remembers that as well. Lap 15 out of 71. Another fastest lap just marked there by Max Verstappen at 1.90 tenths. And this is a statement, this, Connor. I know we've been on the same track as last weekend when Verstappen dominated, but if this Red Bull car could do that in the next few races as well, I think this is the 1 year Mercedes might have to accept second maybe. But, of course, plenty of races still to go.
Yeah, plenty of races still to go. A couple of more friendly tracks to Mercedes as well coming up. The British Grand Prix has always been friendly to the Mercedes car. Hungaroring is a great setting for the Mercedes car too. So a couple of opportunities for them to potentially try and bounce back. And then later on in the year, of course, they'll have more opportunities to do so. Bottas has always been strong in Russia.
Yeah, he has.
And the United States Grand Prix has been a decent track for him too. I'm more interested to see what happens at the Dutch Grand Prix, because we're talking about the Dutch fans here today in Austria. What's it going to be like for that Grand Prix, for the inaugural Dutch Grand Prix as well? Because of course it didn't take place last season because of the pandemic. But yeah, this time around, with potentially Max Verstappen entering that race with the championship lead, it could be a great weekend for him. Especially if he's able to go on to win that race as well. But he's got this one to sort out first. Got to try and win this one first.
Yeah, he has. This is the thing. It is the longest ever season in F1 if it is going to be 23 races. We have had 1 or 2 cancelled, but Turkey looks as though it might pop up somewhere later this year. Yeah,
it got added back after the Russia Grand Prix. It's back on.
Oh, it is back on. It's so easy to forget, because the calendar just changes all the time. I liked it last year, even though it was because of the pandemic, when they announced the calendar throughout the season. I quite like that. I would like if they did that in a way and go, what's in 3 weeks' time? We don't know yet.
Just have a bingo wheel,
Yeah.
You see what ball comes out. Okay, next we'll go to. That would be a disaster for any people that's trying to plan, when to send the buildings and things like that at the pit lane, where to send them next. It's like, oh great, where do we need to book the hotels next? Oh, we'll find out on the bingo wheel. Oh, yeah, terrible. Never.
And as most people know, it's cheaper to book in advance than the week before. Especially flights. We got Johan Rennes responding to you, Connor, saying Dutch Grand Prix will be crazy house in all orange. Yeah, it certainly will be. We got Vettel here for the pits.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, because I've played the F1 game. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of strategies people have for that track, especially with the embankments as well near the final corner on the straight there. It's going to be interesting to see what the drivers do in terms of strategy and things like that for the track. It's going to be an interesting race, I think. Probably one of the most, probably the race I'm looking forward to the most out of the rest of the races on the year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the thing, because, like, I've not played... I don't think I've played any of the F1 games for a year or so now, so I do keep forgetting, like, you know, you can have a go on those new tracks before we even see them on the track, which is always good. But, of course, they've got a story mode, haven't they, this time, I believe, which looks quite good, actually.
Yeah, I think it's bringing back a couple of familiar faces to the F1 story, because a couple of years ago you had an F2 story mode that had a few like AI characters in there, and they're bringing a couple of those back into the story mode as well. So it's a nice one there from Codemasters/EA in their story there. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch, I think, to play out. Sorry.
We've got I'm Mark, who looks as though he's got a Ferrari badge on his profile picture on our live chat page, saying, am I the only one who wants Seb to get a podium? Joel Mitchell says if it's on, and then Emily has also said, I'd love to see Seb get a podium. Yeah, I mean, we saw it in Azerbaijan. It was a beautiful day. Not because I'm a Perez fan or anything, but it was a beautiful, beautiful end to the race, having a completely ridiculous podium that you don't see every week of Perez, Vettel, and Pierre Gasly.
I think this could be the lap that Hamilton decides to take Norris. Norris has got a 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the track on Sergio Perez.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that. I need to see it again in the replay.
And here goes Hamilton. Hamilton's past him now, and there we go. So yeah, I think that's very harsh on Norris there.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've had moments on that bit of the track from last year, which actually involved Perez as well, with Alexander Albon. Yeah, forgot about him. Forgotten man these days. But it was like they were both... It's just such a tight part of the track, and I do think that's a bit harsh towards Norris.
Yeah, so that 5-second penalty at the moment would not clear him of Bottas, because there's only 3 seconds separating those two. Ricciardo's managed to jump up into 5th because of everyone doing the pit stops. So at the moment, Norris would be finishing in 4th as it plays out on the track at the moment, if the race was to end now. But we've still got another 50 laps to go, so anything could happen still at the moment.
Connor, we can't disappoint our viewers here, because one of them, Shahid, has said, Jamie and Connor, give me high five, brothers, so we'll have to do a virtual high five. 3, 2, 1, there we go. We actually did high five a lot last night when England kept scoring at least 4 high fives when they scored the goals. England clean sheet again. It's just beautiful at the moment, but hopefully the road continues after Wednesday night. But we got Lewis Hamilton's overtake again on the replay, which was down the straight, nice and clean, didn't have to stress too much about it and not worry about any collision, and the helicopter watching on behind them.
Yeah, I think Norris, well, he probably heard about the 5-second penalty before we saw the graphics appear on the broadcast. So I imagine once he heard that, he thought, there's not much point putting a fight against Hamilton anymore. May as well let him pass, let him drive off into the distance, and then I've got clean air to work with to try and make up a gap against Bottas.
Yeah.
At the moment, though, it's still only about 3 seconds or so between him and Bottas. So he would still only be finishing in 4th and not on the podium. But like I said only a couple of moments ago, still plenty of time for him to try and change that. Daniel Ricciardo up into 5th. He's doing a nice drive at the moment. But
and he needs that, doesn't he?
I think he's benefited a little bit from a couple of pit stops behind him. So it would be interesting to see once he pits, where does he come out? Because I think he started the race in 13th, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Another time penalty. Sonoda time penalty for 5 seconds there.
For crossing the line at pit entry. Oh dear. It's a bit frustrating to see a basic error cost you that.
Yeah.
They're showing the Norris Perez moment again, which costed Norris 5 seconds. I don't know. I don't understand that really, because I think Perez, you know, he is going for it. He is committing to trying to overtake. And you know, like I say, tight part of the track. I don't think Norris could have done anything about that. I think you know, Perez does commit. It's not like Perez was trying to get out of the situation. Luckily for Bottas, he didn't collide with Perez afterwards and was able to continue racing. And Perez at the moment is 7th, I think, from when I last checked. Yep, he
This
is.
this is where we make a cheeky comment and say, oh, you know, FIA have got the Red Bull drinks in the background there. Wonder why they gave a penalty to Norris.
We'll get you a
I'm
screenshot.
sure they're fair and impartial, but you couldn't make a better picture for why Norris got a penalty against Perez. You couldn't make a better picture than that. So.
Well, even Zelinen right now has just asked us, could anyone help explain why Norris was just penalised? I not enough space. Apparently, I don't get it.
I think, you watch all these cars going around the corner now, around that turn 6, I think it is. All of them are drifting to the outside, and it's partially because of the racing line and, the fact that it's rubbered more in there, so it's a cleaner circuit. You don't have the debris from the tyres and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that these F1 cars, when they are accelerated, they are very difficult to turn.
Yes.
The braking helps, but you don't want to brake on that corner too much because it's a very clean corner swing through on that racing line.
But also with all those cars behind you,
to keep momentum. Yeah. So it's very harsh, in my opinion, to give Norris that penalty because he wants to keep momentum. If he doesn't keep the momentum, he loses position to Perez anyway. Perez is on the outside, and he knows the corner that there's going to be gravel on the outside coming up. So I think it was very harsh to give Norris the 5-second penalty there, in my opinion.
I mean,
and I haven't seen the Tsunoda incident. You said he crossed the pit lane line or something like that.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I guess they'll show it in due course. But yeah, that's
But I imagine they gave that penalty for safety reasons, so I can understand why they would give 5 seconds.
No, I get that. That's the one I do get because Tsunoda, as I said, basic errors like that, there's no sympathy in my eyes, to be honest. I mean, we saw that, was it Bottas? He spun the car in the garage, didn't he, or something like that? Which
during practice session,
and you can see, even with the McLaren lot who were there to help, you could tell from like the shock, they were thinking that could have ended really badly. Someone could have got hurt. So you can understand why there was a tut-tut moment for Valtteri and the Mercedes team.
Yeah, I think he said that he was trying a new release or something like that, but I think I wouldn't agree. I think maybe the tyres were a bit too cold going onto the car, not warm enough, and therefore he didn't have the traction needed, the grip needed in order to get out of the pit box safely, and as a result, he spun the car. But either way, I think the penalty was justified in that case there. But at the moment, it looks as though Verstappen, new fastest lap.
He's doing it in every lap nearly, though, isn't he? He's just improving his time. 10.5 seconds ahead now.
Look, Gasly's making his way up the grid as well. He's up to 12th now. So it's that AlphaTauri car, as much as we like to praise the Red Bull car, the AlphaTauri car has been impressive too so far this season. I think, especially with Gasly driving it, he's done good performances. And, he wanted to get some points this weekend after getting an early exit last weekend due to the contact with Charles Leclerc. So, he'll be wanting to get some points this time. And they're showing the replay now of Tsunoda going into the pits.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that just seems so basic.
Not enough control of the car going into the pits, I don't think. And Verstappen's lapping a Haas there. So he's starting to take over the field. I don't know if he started already. No, he wouldn't have. No, he wouldn't have started blue flagging cars earlier than right now. Not on this circuit. I mean, you can, because I think we saw last weekend Latifi fall 2 laps behind. So maybe it is. Maybe he is starting to blue flag a couple of cars behind. So it'll be interesting to see how far the field he can get now. Because every single car he overtakes now with the blue flags obviously means a bigger gap for Lewis to try and overtake with traffic and things like that, plus the 10 seconds that Verstappen has on Hamilton right now. So it pretty much looks as though, as what we expected, Jamie, is Verstappen's race to lose now. I don't think whatever Lewis does, he's going to catch up to Verstappen. Lewis will be hoping for a bad pit stop for Verstappen or some rain and weather. I don't know if we're expecting any rain today. I know last weekend they were talking about it, and it was right after the race finished that they had rain in Austria, and Lewis must have been thinking, oh, if only that rain came about an hour earlier, then I might have been able to overtake Verstappen. I saw today on his Instagram actually that he came to the race in a raincoat and wellies, and he put in his caption, hoping for some rain today, but I'm not too sure. Something along those lines, yeah. But he was preparing for it. He might have done he might have been hoping that the heavens would open and the rain would fall, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, for him.
Of course, folks, if you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, so appreciate your support. If you can click that subscribe button and give the stream a like as well. We try and cover as much F1 races as possible, especially the MotoGP and the W Series as well, in terms of motorsport as well as the football. So do join the channel if you can. We've got the next race is in 2 weeks' time, I believe, which is the British Grand Prix. But that's going to be a packed weekend, Connor, because you've got the sprint race on the Saturday, the actual race on the Sunday, and then also the W Series on the Saturday as well. So it's quite a packed weekend in Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend of racing. Lots of different styles of racing, with sprint race and the full race as well, and the W Series too, giving them a nice platform to race on too as well. I think the races are on Channel 4 over here in the UK. I'm not too sure where it is around the world, but it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't watched it already. Some great racing over the past 2 weeks with the women's series, and I'm sure more to come throughout the season as well.
Absolutely.
When they go to the British Grand Prix.
Currently, Verstappen now 11.5 seconds ahead. Complete dominance, probably the most dominance we've had this season in a race so far. And we're not even halfway yet of the race. Oh, Ricciardo going off track a little bit there on the entering the straight.
Picking up a bit of dirt. Can't be good for his tyres though.
No, Charles Leclerc to go through that dirt. Eat my dirt, says Daniel Ricciardo, as we reach nearly lap 30. But yeah, everyone, I mean, in terms of the tyre ages, of course, the youngest there is Vettel, since he pitted early on.
And of course, you got to remember with the top 10 all qualifying, most of them, I think, all of them qualifying on the medium tyres. You've got to take into account the Q2 session, the laps that they did on those tyres as well. That's why it's more than the amount of laps that have been done so far in the race right now. Only 30 have been done, but the lap age might be 32, 33. That's why is the situation. Ricciardo's coming into the pits now, so the first McLaren to pit is Ricciardo. Be interesting to see where he comes out of, because of course he started in 13th, I think it was.
Yeah,
he's 9th at the moment. He's going to fall down. 11th. I think he's just going to come out in front of Latifi. Yeah, he should be in front of Latifi. Latifi's just crossing the start finish line now. So yeah, 12th position for Ricciardo from 5th. So that's how big of a gap it is between essentially 5th and 12th. It's only about a pit stop. Lando's coming in now, as well as a Mercedes. So interesting to see what kind of strategy Mercedes has. If it's going to be, I think it's going to be Bottas that's pits. Lando's serving his penalty now in the pits, so whatever he gets at the end of the race will be his definite finish. And Bottas is out ahead of him. So yeah, the penalties worked in favour of Bottas. Lando now has a bit of work to do as he comes out just ahead of Perez and Leclerc, Jamie.
Damn it. But that should help him out, maybe potentially getting the podium if possible, but that is a good pit for McLaren.
Yeah, he's on hard tyres as well, so he's going to be on these until the end of the race. So I don't think Perez has pitted yet, so
no,
it's going to be a long race for Perez to try and make up and get into
I can't
the
see.
podiums.
I can't see Perez getting podium. To be honest with you, I don't
Hmm.
think. I think he may have to rely on a bit of luck, and they've told Hamilton now to box on the team radio. So it looks as though they're going to pit before Verstappen will. Don't know if that will make any changes. We'll see. But they're making the tyre changes now. It looked like a clean one. Yep, 2.2. That was. You can always rely on them, can't you, with the Mercedes pit crew?
Yeah, unless the wheel nut gets jammed, then it's absolutely
Don't
horrible.
say that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Both of them pit now, so they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
It must be horrible when they have to do it though. Like, imagine being the one responsible.
Yeah.
Like, I know deep down, like, no one, everyone is a team effort, so they're not going to look at you. But you must feel awful when it happens.
Just watching now, Verstappen, I think, is coming into the pits. They've got team radio, so I imagine that's saying, okay, Hamilton's boxed, let's box now. And yeah, he's coming into the pits. So how quick is this pit stop going to be for Red Bull? Are they going to have any complications, or if it's going to be clean sailing for Verstappen in this race? Here we go.
Biggest moment of the race. No pressure, Red Bull.
Here we go.
On your home track. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, clean as you like.
Yeah.
Simple. I don't think it's the quickest. It's not a sub 2 second pit stop, but
no.
You don't need to. You need to make sure it's correct and not quick. And I think that's what Red Bull's recognised over the past couple of races.
They just seem to improved everywhere, haven't they, Red Bull? They didn't say what the pit stop was. They didn't announce that, but yeah, as Connor said,
I'll tell you what the pit stop was. Verstappen P1. That's the pit stop. He's ahead. He's ahead. You don't need to worry more than that.
I love it how the timer then just said 29 seconds ahead of Hamilton. Then the guy was like, "Oh no, wait, hang on, change that. It's 12."
Yeah.
I was like, it can't have been that much quicker.
Perez in now, as well as Alonso, so everyone's coming onto the hard tyres. It'll be interesting to see when Raikkonen comes in, because Raikkonen was started on the hard tyres. I think Carlos Sainz did as well. So they're the final two, as well as Charles Leclerc. He's still on the mediums too. So those are three key drivers to watch, because Sainz and Leclerc are in the top 6 at the moment. Raikkonen's in 7th, but we know the Alfa Romeo, it's not as quick as some of the other cars on the circuit. Gasly's behind Raikkonen, so it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for him to overtake the Finn. Ricciardo's up there as well, as is Perez. So you imagine as when Raikkonen pits, he'll probably come out nearer to, let's see, about 30 seconds on, so nearer to Stroll or so, around that 14th spot on the pack at the moment. So just showing a replay of Perez's stop, only 3.1 seconds, which for some teams that'll be a very quick stop, but for Red Bull that's under par completely because of how quick they stop their cars. So yeah, and Valtteri Bottas is got a new fastest lap as well. But I think when Norris, Jamie, looks back on this race, he'll still be very pleased with what he's done. It's a similar story to what it was last weekend, Jamie. The McLaren is never going to compete with the Red Bull and Mercedes around this track over 70 laps. But if he can get into top 4, top 5 finish, then that's a great performance by him, isn't it?
I think as well, like, I think when you look at the way Mercedes have gone into this race as well, I think they knew they were going to be second best going into it because of what happened last weekend. But I was saying to you before the race started, though, like, I think Mercedes might just concede this one and just focus on the next one, which is Silverstone, which has been good for Mercedes over the years. Especially for Lewis Hamilton. He loves that track.
Hard tyres out for Ferrari, so that's Charles Leclerc coming in, switching off his mediums for hards, and off he goes.
Should be fine. Yeah, no problem. There's been no error really in these pit stops so far.
No.
2.3 that one. So yeah, currently Verstappen leading by 14 seconds. Hamilton second, Bottas third.
What do you think of
has gone up to
Hamilton's
9th after Leclerc.
What do you think of Hamilton's new deal with Mercedes for the next 2 years?
I was surprised, but I've actually got a lot of respect for him, because quite frankly, I thought he might retire if he wins this year. because then he's got the most championships ever. No one's ever reached 8 championships before. And I think, sometimes for some people, all they do, people like Hamilton, it's probably been non-stop for him since he became an F1 driver. He's been in F1 for 14 years, which can be a long time, but the amount of races he's won in that time is quite phenomenal. And, sometimes you think a break from it might be best, but clearly he's just shown that with that new contract, he has no intention of going anywhere. Be interesting what the next 2 years will be, because he's going into an unknown world in F1 next year. I mean, everybody is, but, will Mercedes continue being that powerhouse that they have been? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I imagine even with the new regulations coming in, because of the powerhouse that Red Bull and Mercedes are, I still imagine them to be near the top. They're going to spend very wisely on their car for next season. They'll get the best out of it because they've got the best resources, arguably, out of all the teams on the paddock. And you would still expect Ferrari to be near there as well. So maybe they'll close the gap a little bit to Mercedes and Red Bull in that essence there, and potentially McLaren too. But McLaren have been only just recently resurging. How big of an impact is it going to have on the team like that? I'm not expecting too much in change in the field, but maybe we'll see a few cars perform better than what they have done in the past in like qualifying and things like that, and they'll have an impact on the race in that essence.
Yeah.
It'll be just interesting to see. I think the biggest change we'll see is potentially like Ferrari closing the gap to Mercedes and Red Bull. I think it will help them the most. It'll help the top tier midfield team, I think, close the gap to the likes of Mercedes and Red Bull at the top of the paddock.
We've got we've just got Lance Stroll and George Russell at the moment. George Russell was in the top 10 from qualifying and was actually up there for a while until the pit stops round happened just before. So he's currently in 14th, but who knows? He'll hope the opportunity will be there for him. He was wearing the Three Lions England shirt before qualifying yesterday, so he was clearly, I'm sure he watched the game last night. Oh, this is a good overtake though. Look at him go there.
Nice overtake. And that Williams is pulling away from that Aston Martin as well.
Yeah, this is a statement, isn't it? This is it completely surprised me just then. I thought I drank too much from last night witnessing that just then, but no, that's just happened. Williams overtaking an Aston Martin, no problem, from George Russell. Let's have a look at that again.
And if you told someone that season, bearing in mind Aston Martin were called Racing Point last season, so if you told someone last season that Williams would be able to overtake the Racing Point next season, you wouldn't have guessed it at all. You would have said, no, what are you talking about? No way is a Williams being able to overtake a Racing Point / Aston Martin on the track. But it's just happened. And George Russell is a brilliant season for him so far. It's absolutely fantastic season.
You do wonder if that race in the Mercedes he had, which, let's be honest, if it wasn't for that technicality, I think he would have won that race instead of Perez. But you do feel as though that made him feel even more confident and more up for, fighting for that Mercedes seat in the future.
Well, speaking of fighting, Daniel Ricciardo on Pierre Gasly for 6th and 7th positions.
Gasly's having another great race.
Daniel Ricciardo's having a nice little recovery drive after a poor qualifying. Lando Norris is doing okay, but that's pretty much the gap that they're trying to close. Carlos Sainz in that field as well, was alongside Gasly and Ricciardo, and that chasing back with Perez and Leclerc. So we do have our little battles now. We've got Hamilton, Bottas, and Verstappen driving off into the distance, as well as Norris. But there's a bit of a gap between Norris and Sainz. And then you've got Sainz, Gasly, Ricciardo, Perez, Leclerc in that own little gap between 5th and 9th. I mean, how do you feel Ricciardo's performed so far this season, Jamie? I mean, he's had a couple of poor qualifying.
He's not.
And you've always rated him as a good driver, haven't you? Really?
Well, I rate him, but I find him overrated. If that makes sense. Like I'm not saying he's not a good driver. I just find that I think he's made some bad decisions in the last few years, and I think he's not going to be a world champion. I mean, if he does, then I'll eat my hat. As long as it's got cream on it, it'll make it more bearable. But I just can't see it happening. I liked, like, some of the races he won for Red Bull were always dramatic. He never would be. I don't think he's a qualifier specialist, if that makes sense. I think he enjoys it more on race day to be the man that comes from the pack and to win a race out of nowhere in a way. But I do think the last couple of years have not really been a highlight of his career, have they really? They've been pretty average, poor performances. But also, that could be the car as well. But I think when he left Red Bull at first, I did think to myself, yeah, you know, Hamilton did it. He left his boyhood team and all that, and it actually worked out. But for him, it hasn't. So, you know, the Renault contract completely, what the hell can we highlight from that? It was a pretty dull time of his career.
Only one podium, wasn't it, in the end?
I think it was, which I think is more than what the team probably expected, to be honest.
Perez and Leclerc. Perez. Now, here we go, Jamie. Perez
surely,
just pushed Charles off the track there.
Yeah,
so,
now surely that's a 5-second penalty if they're going to stick by the rules. I mean,
interesting.
We'll see that again. Ooh.
And there was contact between the two cars.
Yeah, so this is even worse. Let's have a look.
Yeah. There we go. Watching it on the replay. Perez going around turn 6 on the inside. Leclerc on the outside. Pushed off into the gravel.
But again, though, like, this is why I still stress that the one on Norris was harsh, because what can Perez do? You know, like, he can't turn more right, I don't think. As you say, the speed as well. It is hard to turn a race car.
They're going around such speed, and, you know, even when they slam on their brakes, it still takes a time for the wheel to turn, you know, as it would in most cars. Yes. There's not much they can do with the momentum they've got going around that corner, putting on the brakes and turning the wheel. They've got to take some sort of line. That's why I think it's harsh that Lando got the penalty. And that's why I think if Perez gets the penalty now, if they investigate the incident, which I'm sure they will, because Leclerc was complaining on the radio, and I didn't even need to hear it to know that he was complaining, because he probably was. They're bound to investigate it, and as a result, yes, here they go, they're investigating it now. If they're going to follow suit for what they did with Lando earlier, Perez should now receive a 5-second penalty, which, considering he's already served his pit stop, he would have to take it at the end of the race.
I wonder if it could be 10 because he made contact. I'm not sure, but yeah, they've got to. I think 10
would be harsh, but if they're going to stick with what they've done previously earlier in the race, then he should get a 5-second penalty. Not
great race so far for Perez. It could be even worse if they do give him a penalty. As mentioned, they are under investigation. But look at this. Hamilton having to be a little careful because his teammate Bottas might fight for second place, but I can't see that happening because I think Mercedes need to have priorities there for the championship, because they're not going to win the race. I'll be surprised because Verstappen is 17 seconds ahead after a round of pit stops. So
I imagine, well, maybe they'll be thinking about Bottas potentially trying to nick fastest lap near the end of the race, because Lando's served his penalty now, actually. So
there you go.
Maybe
Perez
it won't be. Yeah, there we go.
5-second penalty.
5-second penalty for Perez.
Which McLaren and Norris would have been fuming if he didn't get that.
Yeah, they can't pit any of the Mercedes cars, actually, for fastest lap, because Lando's only 3 seconds behind Bottas. So it wouldn't be correct to pit him, because they'll lose points on the podium. So they have to stick with what they've got here. And as you said, Jamie, you know, Lewis is the closest challenger to Verstappen in the championship one. So they can't. Well, Lewis won't say. Lewis is not going to let Bottas pass if he's quicker. He's going to say, no, I need the points to stay with Verstappen in the championship. So if Bottas catches up Lewis, we're going to see a battle here between these two Mercedes cars, because neither one of them is going to be letting the other pass.
And Mercedes would hate to have both cars collide and then they don't get any points. So they've got to be really careful if they do let this happen. Bottas, though, he's got to prove a point, I guess, if he is to stay for the team for another year, because he is under threat. Let's be honest. His seat is being up against George Russell, at least. We've got. We did ask.
Just showed another replay of the. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yes, it's no doubt a penalty. No doubt. Referee pointed to the spot and gave him a penalty. Sorry.
Wrong sport again.
Too
Talking
much.
about rugby earlier, now talking about football.
Yeah.
We're going to start talking about Wimbledon soon.
Oh, no, the day off today, Wimbledon.
There we go. It's in the books.
It's
Back
in
to
the
Formula
book.
One.
Back to Formula One. We asked on the poll if Hamilton could stop Verstappen in today's race, and 72% of you have said no, while 28% have said yes. I think we might have to end that poll shortly because it looks as though it is going towards Verstappen's race again. Which
Hamilton's saying that he's just lost a lot off the rear, so his tyres are going.
Oh dear, yeah. Only
yeah,
1.3 seconds ahead of Bottas.
18 seconds behind Verstappen, though.
Could this be a chance for Norris to get podium if Hamilton's car isn't up to it?
I think Lewis is always a bit exaggerating on the radio a little bit. Because he's in my opinion, he is the best when it comes to tyre management in Formula One.
Yeah.
You know, example of it being the British Grand Prix last weekend where he managed to drive it home with last year when he managed to drive it home with only three tyres on his car in the end to win the race. I'm sure we'll never see a replay of that anytime soon, but you know, Lewis is one of the best tyre management drivers on the Formula One grid. I'm sure he'll be able to manage whatever he's got with these hard tyres until the end of the race. But I'm sure that message was in mind of Bottas chasing him down, saying, you know, stop forcing me to do a race that I don't need to. But I'm sure Bottas is thinking in the end, if I've got a chance to get second place, I'm going to take it. So it's going to be an interesting next 30 laps or so with these two Mercedes drivers right next to each other on the track.
I've just read a bit of the team radio of Charles Leclerc after that collision he had with Perez, and apparently the engineer did assure him that it looks as though everything looks okay with the car despite the damage, so Leclerc should be okay to race on, but he is pretty much matching the same times as Perez, and as long as even if he doesn't overtake Perez, as long as it's within 5 seconds behind Perez at the end of the race, then he will of course finish ahead.
Oh, there's an AlphaTauri coming into the pits. Who is it?
Oh yeah,
it's Gasly.
What's that
Gasly's coming into the pits. Maybe he's thinking fastest lap. Maybe.
It's way too early. Surely we've got another
two stops on hards.
Got another 25 laps, haven't we? Well, the pit window's open.
2-stop strategy for hard tyres.
So
maybe.
So maybe there's still a little bit of pressure on Red Bull. Maybe, I'm not sure, but we've just seen Perez again fighting with Charles Leclerc. Not literally, just both of them trying to want to overtake each other.
Yeah, Charles trying to do the switcheroo there on Perez, but I don't think he's got enough speed.
No, he's still staying on the outside. Oh, it's happened again. It's just now. I just don't know. It's so hard to make a decision on that because it's racing at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You got to let them race, otherwise, how can you? Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Do you argue though that Perez knew he was there and didn't leave him enough room on the track?
Well, this is the thing, like
because they were side by side almost going into that corner.
If I was to give a penalty, I'd have given that one more than the one we had.
Here we go, replay,
before.
side by side. Here we go. They're going to be side by side. Look, they're going to be side by side on the replay. Is that forcing him off the track?
Let's have a look.
I think
again.
it is. I think it's forcing him off the track. I think Perez could get another penalty here.
Ooh, I don't know.
The side by side, Jamie.
He's on
the side by side.
I know, but he's on the race line, isn't he? So it's like because from Perez's angle, it doesn't. But he's coming off from a turn as well to get onto the next. I'm not sure. I just find that they're very inconsistent, the FIA, when it comes to their rules. So I don't really know what to expect. You don't know what is or isn't anymore, I find.
Yeah.
Oh no, Joel Mitchell says Denmark is going to win, not the UK. England, Joel. England, Wales and Scotland.
Is he talking about Wimbledon? Because we mentioned Wimbledon before, didn't we? Maybe he's talking about Wimbledon. Is there any Danish players playing in Wimbledon still?
Yeah, exactly. Must be. I wonder if Peter Schmeichel's daughter plays tennis.
Yeah, they're investigating that incident now between Leclerc and Perez. So
it'd be interesting. Jolene Palmer said, presumably Sergio Perez was never told that Lando Norris was given a penalty, so he was probably thinking, well, if it is good enough for Norris, it is good enough for me. I like that.
Oh, Hamilton going off the track at turn 1.
Oh, God, yeah. What's that all about? I mean, it's quite... Yeah, you see that a lot on turn 1, when most of the time when the race starts. But yeah, not sure what happened there. Probably completely underestimated it, but that helps Bottas close the gap.
Yeah, and the stewards will note it as well, because the momentum that you get, I think, from not braking on that corner, you might get a bit of an advantage, but not too sure how much. But it'll be interesting to see. Oh, Ferrari pitting again. They're going to stop strategy. I think it's Carlos Sainz getting the medium tyres on. Oh no, this might be his first stop. Yeah, it is his first stop. Medium tyres for Carlos Sainz. Where's he going to come out? Looks like he's going to come out back in 8th. So that's a great pit stop for Sainz.
Yeah.
Not too far behind. Medium tyres as well, so it should give him a bit of a nice stretch here with a quicker pace, quicker lap.
There's a black and white flag for Mazepin.
Oh.
What, the checkered flag? What's that all about? I mean, he is last, but...
Might be ignoring blue flags, maybe.
Ah. If that's the case, then... Doesn't look good.
That's the only thing I could think of, because,
That must be the worst thing, though, like, having to just always let drivers through. I know the car's not good enough, but even so, that must be a bit degrading.
Yeah. So... but unfortunately, that is the situation for Haas this season. They're not going to be developing their car. They said from the start. So the Haas cars on quick circuits will unfortunately be overtaken a lot, with the leaders powering through.
We've got Apple Core saying turn 1's a high speed-ish corner with a bunch of runoff. It's not much of a punishment if they go off track there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why they might look at that's why the race directors might look at Lewis's situation there and go, well, make sure you don't do that again, otherwise we will give you a penalty, because as much as you might want to think that they're not getting a punishment, the FIA will punish them, because they might get a bit of an advantage by taking that corner in essence in that way, because they'll keep momentum going through. So
exactly 1 second, well, less than a second between Hamilton and Bottas in second and third now. This
so whatever advantage Hamilton did have there, advantage Hamilton did have there, it's gone completely.
This is I mean, this is probably the only exciting part of the race we're going to see, because it has been one-sided.
Start-finish race now coming up. DRS for Bottas. Is he going to take Hamilton, or will Hamilton have enough to stay it? It's going to be interesting to watch. It'll be what kind of defense is Hamilton going to put up on Bottas here? Here we go. Coming up now to the last few corners.
Verstappen yet again, 1.8.4 tenths of a second.
Is Bottas going to challenge, or is he going to get that little button from
surely if you're
Toto Wolff saying, don't challenge, stay behind?
Surely though, if you're getting that close, you can't just hang about, can you? You've got to overtake.
It must be. Oh, another 5-second penalty for Perez.
Oh, that's just an absolute damper.
And that's his race over now.
Yeah, that's just a killer. So Leclerc won't even.
Top 10.
Leclerc shouldn't even have to try and overtake him now.
Yeah. Unless he thinks he can challenge Ricciardo, but I'm not too sure about the time difference.
No, I mean we've got what, less than 20 laps to go, haven't we? Which are normally quite quick on this kind of track.
Yeah, and that, I don't know if that pushes Perez outside the top 10. No, he might just be 10th. Sonoda's pitting now as well, which could give Perez just a slight bit of hope of finishing with a point. But as a result of that, Russell moves into the top 10. So at the moment, on track, as things stand, Jamie, with 20 laps to go, depending on the strategies of each driver, Russell will be in the points and
And
getting his first points as a Williams driver.
I can't believe he still hasn't yet. He's been so close, hasn't he? But he's always had He's always had bad luck. Oh, Vettel fastest lap.
And Bottas takes it.
Yeah, straight after. 1.8.3, yeah. So that's pretty impressive from Bottas.
Yeah,
He has
Bottas up into second now. Yeah.
Did I miss the
Lando
overtake?
Norris closing.
Yeah,
the gap
look at
onto,
that.
Hamilton.
Has he got the car? Oh dear.
Come on, Lando. Let's go, Lando. Let's go.
I could have sworn he was wearing his Mercedes cap a minute ago, folks.
Come on, Lewis. Defend, Lewis. Come on, Lewis.
I think you need to get Ivy and Moore someone that knows how to do stitching and do a half and half cap.
Oh no, I'm not going to ruin these caps. I'm not going to wear a half and half cap. No, they're the worst things in ever.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Lando's done it.
He's done it. Yes, he has. Third place for Norris. And what a podium that would be.
Oh,
hang on,
is going to come into the pits, I think. I think Lewis is coming into the pits. Yeah, Lewis into the pits.
Oh, it's so annoying. Perez's 10-second thing now.
I think Lewis is going to do two-stop strategy. Hard tyre. Which is interesting. Considering the likes of Carlos Sainz has gone onto the mediums, why doesn't Mercedes think the medium is a good tyre for the next couple of laps?
I'm going to have to put my light on. It's gone really dark outside.
5-second penalty for car 18 for speeding in the pit lane. Who's car 18?
Stroll. What? Yeah,
Stroll.
it's been... Oh dear, another basic error. We saw Sonado do it for the pit lane entry, and now with Lance Stroll. People just can't deal with the pressure. 23 seconds ahead.
Lewis on the hard tyres has come out in 4th. So that's a good position in here if he thinks he can potentially try and grab a spot back before the end of the race.
We've got Shahid asking you, Connor, it's a bit of a random question, saying, what is your favourite snooker player? If you like snooker, Connor, my favourite snooker player is Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's the most random question of the day.
Yeah, I don't really watch snooker. I used to play it a little bit when I was a younger, but I don't really watch snooker a lot anymore. So I don't really have a favourite player, but I do like watching Ronnie play because he is probably, in my opinion, he probably is the most charismatic snooker player, and I do like charismatic players in sport because I think it adds a bit of energy really to sporting events. So I do like Ronnie as a player. So it probably is Ronnie as well.
I mean, this guy's a character. Zach Brown, as we've just seen the cameras on him, he'll be thrilled for Norris if he can get his car a podium today. Sonado again. He's done it again, crossing the line at pit entry. It's been investigated. Oh my god! I think when you do it twice, there really is no sympathy. You'd have thought someone would have told him. Lap. He has, yeah. Which of course he did go in for the pits, so he's got a lot fresh tyres compared to Verstappen.
So this could be an advantage. You know, the track is pretty much at its fullest evolution now, with the rubber on the off the racing line, and you know these cars, Hamilton, Gasly going in for a second set of hard tyres. You know, you could see them drive up the board. Big challenge for Hamilton though to try and close the gap to Norris. 20 seconds in the next 15 laps. Is it enough time for him to do it? I wouldn't doubt Hamilton. He's just put in a fastest lap as well, so wouldn't doubt him doing it. But it's going to be a very tough task, I think, for him to close the gap to Norris.
We've got Joel Mitchell saying, "Go Italian Jesus, use your power." He just loves Giovinazzi. All right, Tampa.
Unfortunately, I think it's a bad day. Another bad day for Giovinazzi, unfortunately. But if you ask Kimi Räikkönen, Giovinazzi is the best driver on the track because he's 99 in every single category in the F1 2021 game scoring. You know, I don't know if you saw that video, Jamie, but
yeah, I did. Yeah, quite amusing.
The drivers had to give each other grades in their team, and Kimi was like 99 on everything for Gio. So yeah, I'm pretty certain Joel will have the same opinion as Kimi would when it comes to how great of a driver Giovinazzi is, and I'm pretty certain Joel would give 99 every category for Gio as well.
Absolutely. They're just showing the Sonado moment again, which you'd have thought, oh, he's done it again. I mean, it's only by a little bit, but it's still, you know, rules are rules. But And because of that, he does get a 5-second penalty again. That's 10 seconds from that. You know, it's pretty bad. I mean, I know Perez has got a 10-second penalty on him at the moment, but that's more because of racing, not because of just his own error. But I do think there must have been communications between Tsunoda and the engineer after that first one. They must have told him, just don't do that again.
Verstappen fastest lap 1.7 in the 1.7s today.
Yeah, 25.5 seconds ahead. This is the kind of dominance we used to see with Vettel in a Red Bull back in 2013. But it was the fact that he would nearly be a minute ahead of everyone in that car. That car was an absolute unit.
And I must apologise to everyone now. If you're hearing rain, it's not added sound effects that Jamie's put into the stream to recognise it's raining in Austria. Unfortunately, it's raining where I live.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it. So
you can't hear it. It's good. Yeah. But yeah, if anyone can hear it, it is raining heavily down here in the UK today. But it's absolutely glorious sunshine in Austria. A couple of clouds in the sky, but I don't think it's going to have any impact again. Unfortunately, it's going to be another dry race. I don't think we've not really had a wet race so far this season, have we?
No, I mean, Imola, was it Imola?
Imola, they started on the intermediates, didn't they?
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was still a good race, but it was more. You had the stop and start because of what happened with Bottas and Russell, which Russell is still 10th, folks, with just over 12 laps to go. And again, Verstappen.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz have a great race today in the top 10 after a poor qualifying where they missed out on the top 10 qualifying, I think. So yeah, good performance by the Ferraris today.
Well, I'd say we've probably got another less than quarter of an hour left of the race in terms of how many laps we've got left. So it looks as though Max Verstappen is going to win unless something dramatic happens, like he should have won in Azerbaijan as well until the Pirelli incident happened, and it looks as though they're just showing the live Drivers' Championship, and Ricciardo would be 8th, and he'd go ahead of Gasly, 3 points ahead of him in the live Drivers' Championship, which I guess 8th isn't too bad for him.
I'm actually noting, Jamie, does that take into account Perez's penalty? Because Perez is only 10.6 seconds ahead of Ricciardo right now. Ooh. So if Ricciardo is able to muster something up and close that gap to half a second less, then that would be him in 5th place and more points. So
wait, so at the moment, if it stays like this, Perez would still get 5th, wouldn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, which would be an absolute relief.
Time board. Yeah.
But
it's fluctuating quite a bit. But at the same time, Ricciardo does have the challenge of Leclerc right behind him as well. So how much of a gap he's able to close, it might result in him opening up a little bit because of the fact that he's got to defend against Leclerc. So, but at the moment, it is pretty much a race win for Verstappen, 27 seconds ahead of Bottas. Norris, though, only 1 second behind Bottas.
Oh, he's gonna. Can you imagine if he gets second and took over 2 Mercedes in one race?
Oh, Verstappen's coming into the pits. Is he going to put on the soft tyres for fastest lap, or is it going to be?
I just wonder if is it really worth the risk? This?
Oh, there's another set of hard tyres, so he's going to the end of the race on another set of hards. It looks like,
It's a black and white flag for Raikkonen, but let's see how this pit goes. Yeah, no problem. 2.2 seconds.
Is that no? Is that Perez?
Well, it's saying Verstappen on the graphic.
It said Verstappen with the team radio.
Yeah. No, I think it is Verstappen. His helmet does look. Yeah, you can see the crowd cheering.
His helmet looked like Perez's helmet.
Yeah,
you were seeing that as well, weren't you?
Yeah, because it was weird because when Verstappen won the race last weekend, and you know how they park the car on the straight for first. I thought Perez did it. I was like, no, you didn't win, Perez. Get out of there.
Yeah, because it's saying it was Verstappen that pit because the timing has just changed to 7 seconds between Bottas and Verstappen.
Got you.
And I'm pretty certain Bottas will be going very quick if he could manage to close 20 seconds in the space of a lap. So,
I mean, that would be some outcome, wouldn't it? If somehow Bottas won this race, no one would have expected that at the beginning.
no.
Yeah, the race is really pouring it down here where I am. I'm about 10 minutes away from where Connor lives, so we have pretty much the same weather.
Yeah, I suppose with the issues that Verstappen had with the Pirelli tyres in Baku, he must be thinking, let's just make sure we're better safe than sorry and get another set of hard tyres on. We've got the time between Bottas to do another pit stop, as long as we don't make any mistakes. And sure enough, it was a very clean pit stop. And Verstappen, I think with that move, is pretty much guaranteeing that, it was guaranteed before, but now he can go on to try and do an even faster lap than what he did before and try and get an extra point away from Lewis in the standings of the Drivers' Championships. So.
We're just asking you lot in a moment, folks, on our poll who your driver of the day is, and we're going to give you 4 options. It's going to be Verstappen, Norris, Russell, and I'm thinking who should be our 4th option.
I think Daniel Ricciardo's had a good drive.
Yeah, I'll put Ricciardo in.
Yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo's had a good drive today, as well as the 2 Ferrari drivers. But at the moment, I suppose you could say any one of those 3 options, really. Quite a lot of good drivers today. Bottas has had a good drive, I think, in my opinion.
We got
Verstappen's been storming it as usual.
There's
quite a few drivers today that you could say.
Yeah, I mean, there you go, Verstappen, another fastest lap since he put those tyres on.
Yeah, 1.6.
Oh my word!
That Red Bull car is just something else.
It's
certain circuits. Yeah.
Is it Adrian Newey masterclass, or are we seeing the 2013 car all of a sudden? Apple Core says you both speak as if you're trying to jinx things. I love it.
Russell is got blue flags now with Verstappen behind him. That's how far Verstappen is.
Oh my god, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Russell's
Alonso, don't ruin this. I love Alonso, but don't ruin Russell's race, please.
It's going to be on the start straight. Oh no, it's just going to be before the last corner. So Russell's going to get a nice slipstream on Verstappen's car to try and pull away from Alonso.
Yeah, currently. Oh, hang on. I've got Perez here on my leaderboard. That's on our page. That's on our YouTube stream, folks. It says Perez is 39 seconds behind, but I don't know if that means behind Lewis Hamilton or the race leader, because then afterwards Daniel Ricciardo, it says 45 seconds. So, yeah, I'd imagine. Actually, if I've got this correct, I think Ricciardo's only 5 seconds behind Perez. So if that's the case, then Daniel Ricciardo will get 5th at least. And I think maybe Charles Leclerc would as well. Sorry, we'll get 6th. So
yeah, I think at the moment Perez would finish 8th. He's done enough to finish 8th, so he would be ahead of Gasly in 9th.
Not a good race for him.
No.
As you'd expect, Connor, Kimi Raikkonen is 2nd in the Driver of the Day poll because everyone wants to hear him interviewed at the end of the race.
Yeah.
I don't think people have thought this through. In our Driver of the Day, we've had some of you vote. Vote now if you haven't yet. Verstappen 25% currently, Norris 44%. Russell 12%, Ricciardo 19%. Norris, if he can, I'm confident Norris will get podium, but if he can somehow get 2nd and overtake 2 Mercedes cars today, that would be some achievement.
Yeah, I mean, it would be if you needed more of a stamp of approval as to Norris potentially being a future world champion, look no further than today's race. Just a fantastic driver, that McLaren, keeping the Mercedes at bay, getting it on the front row yesterday, and adding it on to already he's managed to achieve 2 podiums this season, one being in Imola, the other being in Monaco.
Yeah. What
a season he's having in that McLaren. What a season. And we're not even halfway through yet.
He's been absolutely fantastic. I do think with Norris, it's just a simple thing of just getting used to it, isn't it? More race time, more experience, and this is what he can do in just a McLaren. Imagine what he could do in like a Mercedes or a Red Bull if he had the car.
Carlos Sainz challenging on Leclerc.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
he's
he's
taking
done
him
it.
up turn 3.
He's done it, yeah. And Carlos Sainz is having a great season, I think, in his debut season for Ferrari.
It's a contrast really between him and Daniel Ricciardo before today. You know, Carlos Sainz was performing very well in the Ferrari, was Daniel Ricciardo's wasn't doing too well at all. It just goes to show just how much of a talented driver Carlos Sainz is, and he's already got podium, of course, in Monaco. He got that second place last season as well for McLaren at Monza. He's a great driver, and one that can challenge for race wins so long as he's in a good car. And Ferrari, as we've seen in some circuits, can perform very well, but you know, in other circuits, in more traditional race circuits, it's a struggle. And you know, maybe next season when the regs come in, the new regs, he'll be able to challenge in that Ferrari car because he's shown that he can do it. And Charles Leclerc, you know, he'll be right up there with him, trying to challenge, I think, in my opinion, as well. So
we got Ryan Williams saying, sending love from upstate New York. You guys rock. Oh, thanks very much, Ryan. Appreciate it. If you haven't yet, folks, do like the stream and as in click the like button, and of course do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got Russell and Alonso now. Alonso's he's gonna be breathing down his neck.
George Russell defending. Oh, he's gonna defend it.
Go on, lad. Yeah. Oh. He'll certainly take that if he can finish ahead of Alonso, and I'm sure Alonso will give him a pat on the back if so.
Yeah, but we've still got 4 more laps.
Yeah, I don't think
DRS.
I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't think he's gonna hold on, I'm afraid.
Come on, Alonso, you've won plenty of races in the past.
Yeah.
This guy on 1 point.
Oh, I mean, look, it even says there 32 race wins. God, I can't believe it's been 8 years now. I remember that Spanish Grand Prix, but sadly, it has been that long since he last won a race. It's nearly as long as when Kimi Raikkonen had that blip as well when he was at Ferrari.
Just looking at the timesheets now, Sergio Perez 42, Carlos Sainz 51. So he's almost closed it off now to Sainz. I think a few more laps and potentially you could close it off to Daniel Ricciardo. So that 10-second penalty might not come into play at all for him.
Which would be, well, he'll be lucky, won't he? Let's be honest. He's got to rely on other drivers disrupting Sainz and Ricciardo in a way.
Oh, Alonso looking to challenge, and he has taken.
No problem.
Oh, no.
That's a shame. I mean, yeah, I think. Oh, it's always something with George Russell. Look at the Williams team; they are gutted. Oh, it's not just for the driver; it's for the team as well, isn't it, Connor? You know that it's a big thing for the Constructors' Championship to get points over Haas at least, and to obviously not finish bottom at the end of the season.
Well, because of the performances of the car on the track so far this season, I don't think they would finish bottom below Haas, because I think they've always, well, George Russell today will be finishing ahead of Haas, so and he's out-qualified them too. So, you know, I don't think they will now. I think it's pretty much a guarantee that Haas will finish bottom, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes when you don't upgrade your car throughout the season, unfortunately. So
we've got Emily Fell saying, I swear if Alonso ruins this for George and has put a skull and bone emoji.
Well, he did.
Yeah,
he did ruin it.
Twitchy says, don't jinx it.
Too late.
Too late. Oh, we've got 2 laps to go. Verstappen, as we expect, should win the race. There is this battle between Ricciardo and Sainz, which Perez will be delighted for at the moment, as long as it keeps him in 5th or 6th, maybe. Joel has just said, no. Yeah, I think everyone's gutted for George Russell at the moment.
Yeah.
Who knows? Alonso might go off the track.
But
you never know.
It's another stamp against his name. You know, he's shown today he's a star of the future in that Williams car. Look what he's doing compared to Latifi all the way down in 17. It's just such a contrast. He is, if you put him in a McLaren, he would be, up there where Ricardo is. He's just such a talented driver, in my opinion.
I think as well, like the proper followers of George Russell and the team who have tracked him for this long will know how good he is. Of course, people who look at the leaderboard, they might go, but he's not got any points yet. And it's like, yeah, but if you actually watch him, he is a cracking racer. We saw that moment with Bottas, didn't we, in Imola? That was a big moment, which sadly ended in tears. But if he had overtaken Bottas, everyone would have been talking about it in the paddock. Oh, and we've just seen a Kimi Raikkonen moment here with George Russell. As he's trying to get... Poor Russell having 2 world champions breathing down his neck.
What more can you do? But then again, it goes to show, if you're challenging those guys in the same kind of car, well, the Alpine is, by many opinions, a better car than the Williams, and the Alfa Romeo is probably on par. Challenging with those guys and their talents and their experience, what more can you say for a guy like George Russell and the way he's performed today? Brilliant.
Emily Fell says I might cry. Everyone's really
I might cry as well.
Get the tissues, folks. If you donate a super chat, we'll get a tissue for Connor. Well, into the final lap, and camera's not focused at all on Verstappen on our feed because he's pretty much done and dusted with the race. Yep. He's 16 seconds ahead.
Here he goes, round the final few corners. No burnouts this week, though, because otherwise the FIA is going to flag him up for it. Yellow flag in sector 2. It looks as though Raikkonen may have gone off the track because he's dropped a couple of positions, as has Vettel. But big race win for Max Verstappen as he extends his lead at the top of the Drivers' Championships. Here comes Valtteri Bottas for second place as well. Valtteri Bottas, big second place for him. He's been needed a good result over Hamilton, and he's got one today. And Lando Norris, third place for Lando. Let's go, Lando.
Get that cap on.
Let's go.
Not Hamilton's day, but it is Norris's. Zach Brown looking calm after that. He's done like the Gareth Southgate there after they scored the third goal. Don't celebrate crazily. But yeah, that's done and dusted then. Max Verstappen winning yet again. I think that's quite an achievement, Connor, to win on the same track on the same week, if that makes sense. I did say at the start of the race, the pressure's on him to do it, I thought, and he's done it again, but he's dominated again. So I think really for Mercedes, they'll love the fact that they're leaving this circuit today.
Absolutely. But it may come into play now in other tracks that, that are similar to this and allows the Red Bull to really show off its power. The Hungaroring's got a couple of nice long straights, but it does have a couple of bendy bits that could play well into the Mercedes to try and catch up. But as we've seen, at Baku and at Monaco and the last couple of races here in Austria and the French Grand Prix as well, the Red Bull is a certain challenger, and there's a big collision there between Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel there at turn 6 or so. Vettel going on the inside, just couldn't turn the car or something, or Kimi caught the back of him, spun around. But as a result, both of them, falling down the order and out of the race. I think Kimi just lost grip, and then when he turned, saw Vettel late. But yeah, not a mistake that you would expect from a former world champion.
God, it is bad, isn't it? Oh dear. And people were thinking of giving Kimi Raikkonen driver of the day. He won't get that team radio interview anyway. He's not in the car.
No.
But look at that orange smoke all over the place, which is probably going to end up in the Mercedes garage to maxing out the Dutch celebration. Look at that. Even Heineken have paid for that banner on the stand. It's just crazy how much of a following Max Verstappen has.
The big result today, though, Max Verstappen first, Hamilton only managing to finish 4. Hamilton would have loved to try and finish second today, even though he would have. He's been admitting that the Red Bull car is even stronger than what the Mercedes can provide. But the fact that he's finished 4th today just opens the gap even wider for Verstappen at the top of the championship. So I'm not too sure how many points he is ahead now of Hamilton.
I will have a look.
But it's a huge win today for Verstappen. Last week, it was, unexpected win because of how well the Red Bull's been performing. But still Lewis managed to get second. At the French Grand Prix, Lewis managed to get second, but Verstappen showed that the two-stop strategy paid off massively for him. But today is just probably one of the most important wins of the season, alongside the Monaco win for Max Verstappen, because of the huge gap in finishes between him and Hamilton.
Yeah,
such an important win for him.
Nice to see Norris there.
Driver of the day.
Yeah, no doubt.
Great performance by him as well.
And
third podium of the season for him.
He looks to be... I mean, that's crazy.
They're starting to get used to this now, McLaren.
They're starting to
get used to podiums again.
It's the old days all over again.
This time last year, they were all hugging each other because of the fact that they got a podium. Now it's just like
now it's just casual.
Like, well done, guys. Well done. Well done.
Oh, no, except for that mechanic. He's just hugged him thinking, I'm new to this. I'm on work experience. For Verstappen, Norris, he's won driver of the day from the F1 website, but he's also won it on ours pretty much. 46% you were voted for Norris. Verstappen gets 26% for his race win. George Russell for being so close to the points, 14%, and Ricciardo's got the same as well at 14%. So I'm going to end the driver of the day poll. So that was your results. So thanks for voting. We'll stay on until the end of the podiums, and then we will end the stream. But let us know, folks. What did you think of that race? We'll try and read out some of your messages before the end of the stream.
We got an update on the drivers' standings already. The one I've managed to find. So Verstappen on 182 points, Lewis Hamilton 150. So 32 points. A race win, Jamie, separates the two teams. Separates the two drivers already.
Yeah, and that's I've just set up the standings now on our page. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. So. There you go. As Connor just mentioned, 182 points for Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton on 150. So already that gap is starting to increase, and you could say Verstappen is winning 5-3 against Hamilton if we're talking about race wins. Let's not forget, at one point it was Hamilton leading 3-1. So the fact that Verstappen's been able to get 4 race wins without Hamilton getting one is quite impressive. When you're looking at someone who's a 7-time world champion and has been dominating the sport over the last 5-6 years. So, very impressive.
4 out of the last 5 races. Arguably, it should have been 5 out of the last 5 if it wasn't for the tyre failure in Baku. Max Verstappen showing off that talent, showing off what that car can do.
Absolutely.
You can't fault him at the moment. It's brilliant.
You can't. And this is the thing, isn't it, Connor? It's how long does the momentum carry on for? He'll hope it'll never end. He'd love to win every race, but it has happened. I mean, we saw Red Bull do it in 2013 after the summer break. Vettel won every race on the calendar, which was 13 races in a row. I'm not saying Verstappen will do that, but I'm just saying that you've got to believe in stuff like that, because that's what it'll take to ultimately get both hands on that drivers' championship.
I'm intrigued to see what Mercedes do over the summer. Do they really enforce upgrades to try and get themselves back into this title hunt, especially in the constructors as well? Do they force the upgrades in to try and get Lewis back into that title hunt, or are they admitting that the Red Bull is too strong and they can't close the gap and they're just going to focus on the new regs in 2022? That's what I'm intrigued to see. The next 2 weeks is going to be huge. Well, I suppose we might find out news over the next 2 weeks as to what Mercedes plans to do. They may talk about it to the media, but
I think they need it, don't they? I think they need the 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a huge month for Mercedes. What do they do? Do they go hard on the upgrades, get as many in as possible to try and close the gap to Red Bull, or do they leave it and admit defeat and focus on the next season to try and get Lewis back into that title hunt once more?
I mean, they're talking to Bottas now after he got into the top 3 today. Rolex has just tuned in and asked, is the race over? Yes, it is, asking who's the winner. Max Verstappen winning the race today. Hamilton 4th, if you've just tuned in. Rolex also says, I was driving. You should have been driving when the race wasn't on, if you know what I mean. But
it was a good job he watched it. Yeah, I'll praise him for not watching us whilst driving. Good safety there. Good safety there. Don't watch and drive. Focus on the road, guys.
I don't think I've ever heard that one. Don't watch and drive. I love it.
You never know. These whatchamacallit cars these days, the battery powered cars, the ones, the Tesla, they got the big screens in their cars now these days.
On the dashboard.
Dashboard, you can watch anything in there. So
soon you won't be ever with those cars. Soon you'll never have to drive again if their technology does advance. From what we're seeing, it's quite crazy how the sort of technology Teslas are doing at the moment. But we'll see. But funny enough, speaking of drinking and driving or whatever, I love it how, I don't know if Heineken still put these message boards out, but they used to do it on the tracks, which was from Heineken saying, don't drink and drive. And I'm thinking, quite ironic from the beer company to say that.
That's a good thing for the beer company to say.
It is.
Drink and drive.
It is, but it's their product that makes that happen. It's always ironic. But that's if you're wondering, that's our live Drivers' Championship on our page right now, folks. So that's your current standings after race 9 of the season. Next one is the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time in Silverstone. It's going to be very interesting. But I think the next 2 weeks, as Connor say, is going to be big. They've also got Budapest before the summer break as well, so 2 races that they could do with getting themselves back into, really, Mercedes. Otherwise it'll be a long summer holiday for them.
Good result today as well for Daniel Ricciardo after a poor qualifying. Managed to finish in 7th from 13th, so good performance by him. Carlos Sainz as well in 5th from 10th. Charles Leclerc as well from in 8th from 12th, so good performances by him. Probably the disappointment of today, Jamie, probably have to be Sergio Perez for those incidences with Charles Leclerc. Even after going through one experience of his own with Lando Norris. Bit of a disappointing performance today from Perez after a strong couple of weeks, really, after winning the Azerbaijan Grand Prix and finishing 3rd in France. So
I do think
disappointing performance.
It's always a bit of a roller coaster with Perez. His qualifying hasn't been great, has it, this year? But his race has been great. His racing performances. So he'll need to look back at that and just get that one out of the way and focus on the next race, which Constructors' Championship is just as big as the Drivers' Championship, so they'll want to make sure they're in control of both, because Mercedes technically have had a better race in a way, because both of their drivers finished before the second driver for Red Bull did. But look at that Dutch crowd. That is ridiculous. And there is a tent bar behind it, so I think there'll be a lot of drunk Dutch fans after this race. I don't blame them, though, with the COVID and all that we've had, folks. It has been a long time coming, seeing fans back at a racetrack. We're just waiting for the drivers to come out onto the podium for the celebration.
Here comes Lando. Lando.
He keeps taking his cap off. Make your mind up. I still need to get a Perez Red Bull
big
one.
Second place for Valtteri Bottas.
He doesn't look amused, though, does he? I mean, maybe it's just because he's from Finland, but Valtteri Bottas just doesn't look at all that happy. Maybe he's gutted for Hamilton. I'm not sure. He should take it, though. He's pointing to the badge, though. Max Verstappen, he's saying Red Bull. It's all about Red Bull. And Jerry Halliwell will be delighted to have joined her husband this weekend with Christian Horner. She's watching on from below.
Second place is Valtteri Bottas' best performance of the season so far. This is his best race of the season.
Yeah. And I think he should be happy with that.
I'm not too sure if he's going to have an opportunity to win a race this season, unfortunately, because of how well that Red Bull is. And, Lewis is pretty much the number one driver at Mercedes. And he's performing pretty well in qualifying too. So, it's a great performance by Bottas. He should be really pleased with the drive today.
Johan Rinnes says, simply don't drink Heineken, you're always safe. Well, they do have that 0% bottle these days, so you can drink that. But they actually did have a car advert for that, where he's drinking. He gets stopped by the police officer. And the police officer's looking at him, saying, "Oh, you're in trouble here." And he goes, I love how he points to the 0% to say, "I'm not driving. I'm not drinking and driving." But he actually points to the fact that he's got a parking ticket. It's a great advert. Lando Norris looking delighted. I do like these new podium layouts. They're so much better. All digitally and all that these days. More modern than it used to be. They used to have the flags raised above them, which these days they don't want to buy flags. They want it digitally. Actually, looking at the Drivers' Championship, Perez still third. But, of course, Lando Norris, he's closed that gap again, 3 points behind him. Mm-hmm. And I think if McLaren can get one of their drivers in the top three of the Drivers' Championship this year at the end of the season, then what a progress they're making under Zach Brown, which they have been making little progresses there. Oh my God, it's only got a Solskjaer. He's got in touch on our live chat page. He says, "Hello, boys. It's the Manchester United manager here. I'm sure Ollie deep down is saying fantastic for Max Verstappen as he lifts the trophy there." The amount of times, I think I watched a video the other day of like a tally of how many times Solskjaer says fantastic in an interview. You need to come up with a new word, Sir Gaffer, come the new season. But it's great to have the greatest manager in the world join us on our live chat page, along with Gareth Southgate.
Oh dear. I want to draw back on what you said about McLaren, because today was as it was a great race for Lando, it was a great race for Ricciardo as well. Getting up to I think it was 6. I think it was in the end. No, 7. Sorry, getting some key points for McLaren, but as well as putting up his own performance on the season too. It's been a tough season for Ricciardo, but this 6 today will give him great confidence going forward that he can eventually push on and be there with Lando pushing and competing for podiums, because the car's there, as we've seen with Lando, 3rd podium of the season. Ricciardo has the talent in order to join him up there. So
yes, and this is it.
This performance today should give him a huge confidence boost moving forward. I think it's I think he's only finished as high as 6 on the season so far, but if he can get it clicking in qualifying, it could be a huge difference for him, because he's able to do it in a race. If he can just do it on that one lap in qualifying, then Ricciardo could be up there competing for podiums, in my opinion.
I think, this is the thing. On paper, when Ricciardo joined McLaren, it looked strong, didn't it? In terms of his experience. And I think you're absolutely right. If they can get Ricciardo into the right gear and to consistently fight along with Norris, then I think you could have a very, very delightful season, which is already a delightful season so far for McLaren. Well, they've done the trophy presentations, and that's it really. Max Verstappen winning in Austria yet again, 2 race wins in a row in Spielberg for him. So no problem. I'm sure he'd like to race there every weekend, but there's still a lot of countries to go to between now and the end of the season come December. So they're just telling us now that the next race is the British Grand Prix on July 18th. So I'm sure we'll be doing a live race watch along for that. So do join us for that. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel to keep yourself updated for our future sport watch-alongs, including the F1. And, of course, it's coming up is the British and Irish Lions Tour if you like your rugby, football as well, all sorts of sports, and the Open Championship as well. So do join us all for that in the next few weeks. Jam-packed as always. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer again says Max Verstappen is good, but I'd still bench him for McTominay and Fred.
From what we've seen this season, Max Verstappen's very good at defence, so I'm not too certain about that.
He is quite quick as well. We need him on the wing more, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Come on, get your tactics right. What's going to happen to Lee Grant? That's what I want to know, Solskjaer, since you've just signed Tom Heaton. But anyway, it looks as though Max Verstappen did get fastest lap award as well, a 1:06.2, I think that was. I might have missed that. Might have read that wrong, but
1.6.2.
Sound. Right. I think we're going to wrap it up there, folks. But before we go, Conor, your final thoughts.
Um,
I tell you what, I'll give you a good one. What is the rose and what is the fawn of the race? So the rose is the delight. Who does that go to? And the fawn, who's had it badly today?
like I mentioned earlier, obviously a big rose for Max Verstappen for another great race win in the Drivers' Championships, as well as for Lando Norris getting another podium as well for McLaren. Good performance by him. And then for Fawn, obviously Lewis Hamilton finishing in fourth, falling behind a little bit now. A race win behind Max Verstappen now in the Drivers' Championships. And Fawn as well for Sergio Perez not getting those key points for Red Bull in the constructors by only finishing in sixth after a couple of mistakes today on the track. So, yeah, I gave you two there. You only asked for one. But I gave you two.
There's no rules of giving more, I guess. We'll have to change the guidelines at Let's Talk Sport. But anyway, thanks to Conor Porter for joining us today. Hopefully he can join us for the British Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, we'll see you for then. Of course, if you haven't yet, folks, do subscribe to the channel. Give this stream a like if you enjoyed yourself today. And we'll be back soon for the Euro 2020 when that comes back later this week. So my thanks to Conor, my thanks to you at home, and in the words of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, fantastic for Max Verstappen today and for Lando Norris for McLaren, but sadly it's been not the best of days for Lewis Hamilton as he misses out on the podium. And just before we go, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says we've just got Lee Grant on a new contract as well. Oh, I know. What are you doing, Ollie? Get it sorted. And Johan Rinnes says, thanks again, guys. Mind the Danish team. Difficult to beat. Switching to the Tour de France. Anyway, thanks, everyone. Have a good one and enjoy the rest of your weekend.